Test.
I deceived you.
You did deceive me. It wasn't plugged in.
I left you with only a handful of dirt.
Only a handful of dirt, huh? Well, that dirt can be pretty fucking productive. So,
All right. Hey, listeners. This is another Liminal episode.
yep, that's right. We're here in passing. We are all here in passing.
Indeed.
Fading away into
Hello
nothingness.
and goodbye.
Hello and goodbye.
So we are going to talk about a short story, which is a short film by Bi-Gan.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. B-I-G-A-N.
Right, and I'm not one to critique the
Yeah.
names. So
Right. So this is, it's about like 12 minutes plus the credits. It's a Chinese short film, really beautifully shot.
very, very much had a very defined sense of style. Definitely knew what it wanted to present. Everything here is very tight and well edited in the sense that there is no wasted movements at all, in my opinion. It's all very intentional and deliberate.
The story follows a strange cat, as the subtitles say.
A pretty funky cat. An objectively cooler cat than cool cat.
Oh, of course. Yeah. He doesn't find a gun, but he is looking for the most precious thing.
Which we in America know is a gun.
Exactly.
Yeah, he doesn't find it, but, he's
sadly,
still looking.
Does not find his
Some
gun.
say to this day he's still looking.
He happens upon a scarecrow, asks it what the most precious thing in the world is, in exchange for doing the scarecrow a favor by burning it so that it can be released from the earth to join its friend in the air.
Because even a scarecrow is tired of the existential dread of living on this fucking planet.
Exactly.
So even the scarecrow is like, nah, man, I'm good. Can you kill me, please?
Yeah. So then the cat takes the scarecrow's clothes, and then for most of the movie, it's like probably a child just like wrapped up in...
No, that's a cat, man.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Forgot this is 100% real.
Yep, 100% real. There's nothing fabricated about it.
Yeah.
They got a cat to do that. Very impressive.
And he's just waddling around in this like squat little body with a big black hat. And he is seeking out 3 weirdos, as the English subtitles calls them.
I wonder what the spirit of that is. Because the way that they're presented is that they're eccentric. They're eccentric, yeah. Goddamn, having a crisis over this word. They're eccentric. So they're weirdos in the sense that they clearly are...
They're strange folk.
Yeah, they're deviating from some kind of normal expectation. But the premise is that the cat can learn from these weirdos.
Right.
Because the people who are diverging from the norm are the ones that have lessons to teach you.
Yeah. That was the kind of first sign that these subtitles might not be doing it 100% justice.
Yeah, especially because this is presented as a fable. We're going to sit down and let me tell you the story of the black cat who walks around in scarecrow clothes.
Yeah.
That's the presentation. So I would be very, it's a shame that I don't really have the ability to understand the original meaning of a lot of what's being said, if only getting this filtered version of it.
Yeah. So the scarecrow is the one that tips the cat off about these 3 people.
It's how did the scarecrow know about these people? You know what I mean? Did they have a meeting? Are they old friends?
Maybe these aren't the only 3 weirdos that hold this secret. It's just the scarecrow knows of these 3 weirdos and is check them out. They might know.
Yeah, I don't know. Just kill me, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So the cat goes to the first one, and it's a robot. who was stationed at an orphanage, and his job was to produce and distribute these candies that were
dark candy.
Yes, the dark sweet.
The dark sweet. That's right. That's what they say.
Yeah, and they're described as being bittersweet, and they're given to the kids when they leave the orphanage.
Right, and they even say something along the lines of like a child's parting. It's tastes with bitter and sweet. Like,
yeah,
you know, like the idea that like, and the way I interpreted that was that like what Bot provides is an amount of soothing sweetness in this darkness. Like being an orphan is a really tragic thing. And so the bitterness comes from that, but that being able to provide some kind of hope or some kind of affirmation is in and of itself the gift. But because Cat can't taste sweetness, he only gets sadness from this.
Yeah. He also, when he arrives, Bot is powered down. His batteries run out, and Cat recharges him with sunlight.
Right, and sunlight is a thing that is brought up multiple times in this. Like when we go to the second weirdo, there's a bit of a dialogue about how like, what is it? I said it was like love or something like that was like the
love for mankind.
Love for mankind was the core of a star, or the core of the sun.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And so like you can kind of in retrospect apply that to the love of mankind being filtered into this machine that activates it, and its purpose is to give a gift to parting orphans.
Yeah.
Which in and of itself kind of represents that general premise of, you know, finding some kind of solace in all of the horrible things in the world.
Yeah. And the second weirdo, like her main thing is that she's so torn up about the loss of her lover that she spends every day trying to forget.
Yeah, she makes a bowl of forgetting soup.
Yeah.
Or forgetting noodles.
Memory loss noodles, basically.
Yeah. But she still knows that the most precious thing was this letter that her... she doesn't even remember who wrote it anymore, but she remembers it's precious. And so her dead husband's words transcend that. And it's kind of really telling that like when it's revealed that the apartment, we think it's an apartment at first, and then it's revealed that it's actually in a train car. Yeah. And so it's like even though she is forgetting her suffering, or like, you know, it can be a stand-in for any way to like make yourself forget, drowning your sorrows in alcohol or drugs or whatever. But she still lives on that train because he was a train driver, and so she's still living in that suffering.
Yeah.
Even though she's making herself forget why she's there. Yeah. She still literally lives in it. And it's like this dim, dark place, and the cat sacrifices one of their eyes to light it up for her, basically.
Yeah, turns it into a lamp. And once he does that, then the train car starts moving. And
so it's like he's by putting that solace, that light for her, that's allowing her to move forward finally.
Yeah. And then the last weirdo is called Demon, and it's depicted as a comedy magician who lives inside of a slot machine.
Yes, and you have to pay notes of your soul.
Yeah.
Which at first I thought they meant like musical notes, but then I realized, oh no, they mean like paper, like notes. Like you trade the worth of your soul into this machine to get Demon to do anything for you.
That's another translation that I feel like maybe lost something.
Right. But in essence, you have to trade away your soul in order to get Demon to do anything. Yeah. And it's like you can kind of see like Bot, the Noodle Woman, and Demon as like stand-ins for how people deal with suffering. So Bot makes candy for other people who are suffering. And then the Noodle Woman forgets her suffering, and then Demon turns the suffering into a mercenary thing. Yeah. Where you know, he performs magic tricks for you, but really he's tricking you by taking from you in the hopes that he's going to give you answers. And in turn, he only gives a mound of dirt.
Yeah.
Now, the mound of dirt itself is useful, but it is not of itself useful. You must turn it into something useful by growing something in it. So, like, you can't just go pay for the answers for what you want.
Yeah.
The most precious thing in life is what you cultivate in your own pile of dirt, basically. We all have a pile of dirt. Life in and of itself is hard labor and it's work. And so we want to forget our pain, but by forgetting our pain, we imprison ourselves to it. We want to help others, but without being able to refill ourselves with love for humanity, we can't help other people. So we have to remember to refill ourselves when we're giving to others. Because Bot's probably like the most like a benevolent person in this,
right?
And that really comes down from the fact that like their function is to give, but they needed to be recharged by someone else in order to do that. But the cat couldn't taste the sweetness, so the cat is a very cynical person who's not able to receive that kind of affirmation or positivity in the way that Bot can provide. So that's why like that in and of itself doesn't fix their problem, but that character represents a type of person who is using their pain to make sweetness.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when Cat walks away with a mound full of dirt, then we get a little bit of backstory that he was taken in by a young girl, and he tried to show her affection by bringing her dead animals, and she did not appreciate it. And
I do think that kind of supports my idea of like incompatibility with how we show love to each other. You know, Bot needs the sun to work. The train lady needs, the noodle lady needs to stop trying to make herself forget to face her pain, but she needed that external light source by somebody else to inspire that change. And then Demon is a lost cause. He has surrendered to the prison he put himself into and peddles dirt to people in exchange for their souls. Like he's become a parasitic force in the world. And then, but the cat is a person who shows their love in a way that was not compatible with the girl. So he went on this quest because he's trying to find a way to love. To teach himself how he can love her, how she receives it. Which is why at the end,
so he meets the girl at the top of an escalator, and he says, take off my hat for your gift or whatever. I don't remember how he phrased it. But
someone has brought you a gift. It is under this hat.
Oh yeah. He's doing it anonymously.
Yes.
So she takes off the hat, and it's the mound of dirt, but it has a little flower growing out of it, and she plucks the flower and is presumably happy with that. And then the last shot we see is the hat blowing in the wind down a foggy, muddy road. And one other thing that Demon said was like, before the night's over, your hat will take the last note of your soul.
Last note of my soul.
My soul?
He says you'll take a note of my soul is what he says.
Oh, well, that's I had something for that, but that doesn't.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty weird too, but like
maybe it was because Cat was saying it. Cat was referring to his own soul.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe it is a little confusing because the cat does have a voice in this, but it's the narrator's voice.
Right. Yeah. So it kind of overlaps. So yeah, if that's the case, then my interpretation was that he used the last of his soul to like produce this flower, and
right. And that's, I have mixed feelings about that because like on one hand, if you really love somebody, then you can let them go. Right. Because the difference between obsession and love is that love can permit someone to leave.
Mm-hmm.
If it's true love, then them leaving, it might hurt, but you truly want what's best for them. So you're not attached to them in the way that an obsession is. So what Kat is representing is because he does so anonymously, he is trying to show love from afar. And I think it's just like a way of representing that action whilst still maintaining the premise of the story.
Yeah.
But also, like, if we do go with the idea that that's the last of his soul, I don't like that because it's representing a very self-sacrificial love.
Yeah.
Like, look, martyring yourself for the people you love is all well and valid when it comes up, but sacrificing yourself for someone who doesn't love you the same way that you love them, or who's incapable of receiving your love the way that you give it, is self-destructive. It's self-harm. So the way I read this is that the cat ultimately is self-harming himself because he can't accept that he's just not compatible with the way that someone finds love. He needs to find someone who bringing those dead birds to is something that they cherish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe another cat.
Perhaps. Did you have another interpretation of the ending before I posited that?
Sure. I mean, I just the idea of like loving someone from afar and like because like he cultivates that flower from the dirt that demon gave him. Mm-hmm. So it's like he goes out into the world and tries to figure out, okay, well, how can I show love to somebody who receives it differently than I give it? And he gets an example of a love from service by Bot. Mm-hmm. He gets the example of trying to run away from your love from the noodle woman because the pain of love is too much for her. Mm-hmm. And then he gets some wisdom about that, though, about the idea of like, you know, love for mankind is literally from the sun itself. And what is a flower but something that is it is growing from the power of the sun.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm like, kind of where I'm at. Like I my first interpretation was literally the love from afar, and then the other interpretation based on what you said is just like, oh, well, it's kind of a self-sacrificial love to the point of selling your own soul. Nothing is worth your soul, not even love, is kind of like my point of view.
Yeah.
Like, because if you think about it, like what does selling your soul for wisdom mean? It means that like what you're forsaking your own inner self, you know what I mean? Like your own inner values or the things that constitute you. Yeah. So if you sell your soul for love, then you're not really doing it for love. You're doing it for obligation, and you're doing it because you think that you need to transform for someone else's sake, which is also self-harm.
Right. Yeah. There's a theme in this of hello, goodbye. Like, the girl says that at the end, right?
Yes. The hello, goodbye thing comes back up. And when Bot is saying it, because he says it earlier as well. He says hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye. That's all he says. And he hands the candy to Kat. And so when Bot's saying it, it's like hello, greetings, but also this is our parting.
Yeah.
And so we can say that the girl is saying that as well. Like the girl knows the flower is from the cat, even though the cat is presenting themselves as anonymous in this moment. And I think she's accepting it, but also like, I accept this, but you got to move on with your life is kind of
maybe,
which ties into my original interpretation, which is that like, to love someone is to be able to let them go.
Yeah. And it's like the bittersweet candy, hello, goodbye kind of embodies that duality, and the memory lost noodle lady, like she she needed to be able to say goodbye in order to even appreciate the love that she had for her husband.
Right, but her inability to do so by her own hand because she didn't want to face it. Like, without being able to face pain, you can't truly understand pleasure. Or in the same way, without being able to embrace loss, you can't really embrace love. Because to love someone is to make an agreement with yourself that you're going to lose them someday. Regardless, like,
yeah,
they'll die or they'll leave you eventually. Yeah. Like, these are things that you must accept if you are going to love someone. And love is essential. Love is the sunlight that grows the world, but it comes with the promise of loss at the end of it. You know, there was I don't know if you relate to this, but, you know, growing up, right, you have this group of friends, and there's a last time that you see most of them. Yeah. Even if you don't think about that back then, you know, all you remember is, wow, we did all this fun stuff together. We went into the woods that we weren't supposed to go into, or we harassed the local wildlife, or we bought ice cream from an ice cream truck, or whatever.
We drove our motorbikes around a graveyard.
Exactly. Yeah, we drove our motorbikes around a graveyard. But there was a final time that you saw all of them. And the love that you have, though, is that love can sustain you, or you can focus on the loss. But they're both always going to be in the same candy. You cannot remove loss from love as a concept. You only can accept it or let it destroy you, consume you. Or you'll become like Demon.
Yeah. Yeah. Highly recommend watching a short story. We found it on... I'm going to bleep that because they don't get it for free.
Oh, yeah.
I want them as a sponsor.
We found it at a streaming service that curates foreign art films.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you want to know, they're going to have to pay us.
Exactly. Yeah, like I said, really beautifully shot. The composition is just immaculate, especially that train scene.
That train scene is glorious. Like, everything about this movie is so beautiful. Like, honestly, we've been on a roll. You know, you audience, you're going to get this first. But
true.
For like, by the time you get to where we've been in our recording schedule, we've had some just beautifully shot movies, like, back to back.
Yeah.
Should we say what the next film is going to be for next week?
Yes. If you'd like to participate, watch along. The next movie will be Little Man.
Fuck you.
By the Wayans brothers. Wait, is it Little Man?
No, it's Inland Empire.
Are you sure? Man, I'm all mixed up now.
Hold up. It is. Oh my God.
Okay, it is Little Man.
Why in my head did I reverse those two?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
I did it.
You're going to have to edit.
They're interchangeable, really.
That's a hot take. You want to fill me in on?
I will not be taking questions at this time.
What the fuck?
No, Little Man is next, and it's
I hate.
I don't even know what to say. It's a Wayans Brothers movie.
It's honestly like the odd one out of our like now that we're like what, like 10 episodes into our podcast, like it's seriously the odd one out.
We'll have to put some more in like it, but
there are more things like it on the list. We just haven't rolled them.
Yeah. Quick content warnings for that film if you choose to watch it. Content warnings for sexual assault and rape, which is dealt with in a cheeky manner. It's a comedy, but you know, it's a Wayans Brothers comedy, so you're gonna get some of that. Is there anything else? I think that's like.
Stay tuned for the week after the episode, so you can listen to Ari have an unhinged rant as well. That'll be our next liminal.
All right.
Bye,
See you later,
everybody.
folks.
Later.